Hello, welcome, and thank you for stopping by my little corner of the abyss that we call life. Today, I'd like to address the use of AI art and people's response to it. Now, let me first start by stating for the record that I am absolutely and beyond the shadow of a doubt against AI art in any shape, form, and/or fashion. With that being said, I felt driven to make the following video and statements contained therein. As of late, I keep seeing people complaining about AI art that others are using or have used in the past. While I understand this, I also feel like I need to point out the following. Firstly, it is not helping to quote retweet it and complain about it. Secondly, and equally as important, the vast majority of people doing this have absolutely no room to speak on this in any regard. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first off, let me cover how none of this is actually helping and how we can fix that as a whole. You see, much like many other people out there, I have a tendency to get caught up scrolling through various social media throughout any given day. Whether that be Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, or in my case, as of late, Twitter. And almost without fail, there's at least one post that comes up that is shaming someone for daring to use AI art. Now again, I reiterate that I am very much so against the use of AI for the purpose of generating art, but for the love of God, do the world a favor and either contact the person in private or just block it and move on. I understand that you want engagement, just like every other creator out there, and are doing whatever you can to get it. But dogpiling on somebody for this does not help anyone who is actually being affected in any way. You are not helping the artist whose art is being fed to the AIs by retweeting it to make your comments. All you're doing is helping to spread it even further. With every retweet someone does, it's just one more time that it may very well end up on someone else's timeline, which is yet another chance for someone else to do the exact same thing that you did. As for the person that is using it, it is entirely possible that they have no idea that it is AI in the first place. Hell, these days with modern AI advancements, half the time, as someone who is relatively new to the VTubing sphere, I can't even tell that it is AI until someone points it out and shows me how they could tell. As such, I, and probably most others, would much prefer that if it happens at some point in the future that art I use is AI generated, somebody tell me in private and explain what they noticed so that it can be replaced with proper art by an actual human being. Now, make no mistake, if you have tried contacting the person in private and they either don't care or refuse to do anything about it, call them out on it in a public way if you really and truly must. Please do it without quote retweeting them. This way, at the very least, you stop spreading their influence and presence to the rest of the internet. But if you really want to help, then leave them to fade into obscurity. And instead, direct people to artists that you enjoy. Or, if you are an artist, direct them to yourself. This way, you are actually helping out real artists and increasing their reach rather than just spreading the same AI slop that you were already complaining about in the first place. All that having been said, I'd now like to move on to the second half of the problem I see with this. As I stated in the beginning, the vast majority of people making these complaints have absolutely, positively zero room to speak on this topic in any regard. Now, why do I say that? You see, the problem is that a great many of the people that are making these statements are just as guilty as the AI they so hate. As it turns out, there are a great many creators in all their various forms that have been taking from artists for years without anyone ever questioning it. If you don't understand exactly what I mean, don't worry. I'll happily explain myself. First, let me just point out that not all artists draw art, just like not all art is an image. We all have to remember that music is also art, and by that logic, musicians are also artists. How many times have you watched a music cover or tuned into a stream and they have mainstream music in the background? Now let's think about this. If music is art and musicians are artists, then how are those doing this any different than the AI they're complaining about? Both are taking someone's art and using it to generate their own content. Both are taking away from actual artists. So please explain to me if they're both doing the exact same thing, Why is one celebrated and the other condemned? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm entirely aware that there are proper ways to go about doing these things. If you are one of those doing everything right, you're getting all the proper licenses or using royalty-free music, and you're crediting the musicians, then this is not being directed at you. But for all of you out there who aren't doing these things, well, as they say, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. You are just as guilty as the AI. You are no better than it is. And just so we're perfectly clear, using music that you do not hold the copyright to, or at least a license to use in whatever way you're using it, is absolutely a violation of the copyright holder's rights, whether that is a musician themselves or the label they work with. And that's in addition to being a violation of terms of service on pretty much every platform. Now, for those of you thinking, oh, but I separate my audio tracks so it doesn't get recorded. Well, for you, I might recommend looking a little closer at the terms of service, because none of them that I've looked at say anything about that making it okay. From Twitch, and I quote, "In order to protect the intellectual property rights of others and comply with intellectual property laws, we do not allow users to share content on their Twitch channel that they do not own or otherwise have the rights to share. For example, without permission from the rights holders, or unless otherwise permitted by law, you may not share music that you do not own or do not have the rights to share, including music streamed in the background of a user's broadcast." From YouTube, if you choose to upload content, you must not submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement or the law. For example, the content you submit must not include third-party intellectual property, such as copyrighted material, unless you have permission from that party or are otherwise legally entitled to do so. And from Twitter, you may not violate others' intellectual property rights, including copyright and trademark. Those are just the ones I frequent most these days, but the list could easily keep going on, and not one of them says anything about it being okay as long as you don't keep it in the VOD. Now, just because you found a workaround to make your VOD still usable, that doesn't make it right. For those who want to cite fair use, you may want to look into exactly what those words mean, because by that argument, AI is typically closer to fair use than most cover songs are or ever will be. Now, I'm not a legal professional, and as such, I'm not going to try and explain fair use. But given that most cover songs use the original music and it's just someone else's voice, whereas AI is generating a completely new image based off of someone's art, which do you think is more transformative? Sorry, I don't think you're going to win that one. In conclusion, while I agree that using AI to make art is wrong, just outright wrong, as I stated in the beginning, helping to share it with everyone isn't helping anyone, and people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. For those of you that made it this far, thank you to listening to me rant about this. And if you enjoyed the video, consider liking this video, and if you'd like more of this kind of content, please subscribe. That's all I have to say about this topic, so I hope you all have a great day, and once again, thank you for stopping by my little corner of the abyss that we call life.